goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello. Welcome. I'm really okay. So, okay, now I'm going to print. I'm just trying to print something. You would think that's an easy thing to do. Well, it isn't. The printer has a mind of its own. So I just want to say this to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Guys, you know, sleep experts will tell you that before you go to bed, you need to calm down, quiet. You don't want to overstimulate yourself. And what's a Pirate fan supposed to do when invariably you seem to enjoy playing not just 9 innings, but 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. What the hell was last night? 15? I don't know. And this in a game where you went into the 9th with a 2-run. Oh, God, you guys. Here's what I want. Please stop making it so interesting. I'm serious. Come on, give us a break. Because then you have a choice. You can go to bed not knowing what happens, which is not, again, conducive to restful sleep. Or you can stay up, hope that the game will only last another. These games, they start in one day and end in the other. I mean, it's just ludicrous. I'm glad to see. I abandoned you last night in the 10th. And I'm glad to see that you won. I didn't find that out till this morning. But why the hell you have to make it so damn interesting? And I just want to say again to people who say baseball is boring, you don't know what you're talking about. It didn't print, did it?
It's now turned red. Angry.
Wolf. Okay, I'm just going to press print again. And
I can try my juju on it if you want.
what are you going to do?
I'm going to walk around behind you.
Okay, well,
Would you like me to do that?
no.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, excuse me. excuse me, just one second, because it's really a sort of good article. I guess I can. What this is about is that Ashley Madison. Does that ring a bell? Ashley Madison. That's that website that.
Oh, for cheating on your spouse?
That you can cheat on your spouse. Exactly right. And see how well I can multitask? I can think and do 20 things at once. Okay, now we're just trying. That could be it. It's an article about that. They were hacked. And the people who hacked them, if you'll recall, this was a little while ago, the people who hacked them said, you either cease and desist with your despicable, right, website, or we will publish the names of all your clients because we have them. We got everything now. And they did not stop, and it appears the dump of all that data happened earlier today. It's in a form that makes it only computer geeks can get at it at this point, but they will. And so expect a lot of, they say, famous men to be in big trouble. So, what happened is McClatchy News, which I have a great deal of respect for, actually, just posted something that this has happened, and they are wondering, how does media deal with this? And I'm thinking, you're asking how media is going to deal with this? What do you mean? Are you suggesting that this is private information that media should not salivate over and go combing through and immediately go bonkers with? I mean, so that is going to happen. So get ready for some, I think, interesting news. Okay, here's what they say. Here's the questions they're asking. Will you seek out the raw leak data after reading this post? That a lot of people did. Will news organizations presented with user profiles ask for comment? Will they treat this as news? Which ones will they treat as news? Blah, blah, blah. I am saying that media shows no restraint whatsoever. And the more establishment, proper journalistic media, wait. They aren't usually first out. They wait until some of the less scrupulous purveyors of information put this stuff out, and then the established media said, well, look, I mean, this is happening here. We've got to deal with it. The guy from McClatchy says, I think this feels like a momentous event. Barring some sort of heroic cleanup effort on the part of the entire internet, which ain't going to happen, millions of lives may be about to change. Millions of lives may be about to change profoundly. It's easy to kid about the fact that these people were using a site intended to help them cheat. But if understood in more abstract terms, this hack has the potential to alter anyone's relationship with the devices and apps and services they use every day. Here were millions of people expecting the highest level of privacy that the commercial web could offer. As they conducted business they likely wanted to keep secret. This hack could be ruinous. Personally for some people, professionally, financially. But for everyone else not directly affected, it could haunt every email, private message, text and transaction across an internet where privacy, well, used to be taken for granted. Ashley Madison, in the strange hacker economy of 2015, may have had an especially big target on its back, but it's a powerful reminder of the impossibility of perfect privacy these days. Welcome to the future. So, I guess we'll see. Hey, you over there, are you finding other stuff on this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Names coming out?
No names, just the actual way that they did it.
Okay, how they did it and stuff like that. But, okay, this is going to be, stay tuned, as they say.
They left a cute little note on the encrypted data
Hey,
for everyone to find.
they left who left a note?
The hackers.
Left a note?
So they left a note at the top of the data that they released that says, "Time's up."
Oh, dear. Well, God help us. I don't know. Privacy. What's that? I mean, that will be... I suspect... I have argued that the concept of honor is increasingly alien to those of us living in this culture. A culture that celebrates celebrity above all. Celebrity not having anything to do with whether or not you're worthy of, worship, but celebrity just by virtue of being famous. Honor is something that our culture does not give much value to. Truly doesn't. So I would think privacy, sort of like honor, soon enough will become something that people just don't quite get. So yesterday I was squawking about this rich woman, Sanford Weill's wife, I forget her first name. And she had given money to a small college, $20 million, but in order to get the money, they had to rename the school after her. And then we were talking about these despicable endowments that the rich, big universities have. And how I just go berserk every time I read that some gazillionaire has given $100 million to Harvard or Yale or his or her alma mater, because they need that money like I need another pound or two. I mean, it's just, it makes no sense to me. So, look, we were talking about, think of what that money could do for the students. The students don't see that money. These universities sit on these increasingly huge mounds of cash. For what? Help me here. What do they do with that? They just keep amassing more and more of it. Whoa! Today, op-ed page, New York Times, headline, "Stop Colleges from Hoarding Cash." It's an article about what they do and how easy it is for them to do it. All of that, by the way, tax-free. So, a professor of law wrote this piece, and he sees it operating on college campuses all over the place, what really happens. Just some information from him. Yale. Last year, Yale paid out almost $500 million, $480 million, almost $500 million to the private equity fund managers who manage its endowment. Do you know how $500 million for pushing that paper around? How big is the endowment? The endowment, no, they're managing about $8 billion. So they get $500 million for managing $8 billion. Nice work if you can get it. They say it breaks down with, $340 million in performance fees, $137 million in management fees. Okay, so how much money from that endowment made its way to tuition assistance or to fellowships or anything that would help a student? We already know that almost $500 million went to some hedge fund managers. It appears that Yale managed to put $170 million into tuition assistance. $170 million for the students, $480 million for the hedge fund managers. What is wrong with this picture? The same is true to lesser and greater degrees at Harvard, at the University of Texas, at Stanford, at Princeton, and all the other universities that this guy did some research about. Now, the reason all that money, these endowments, are exempt from taxes is because universities are educational institutions. Well, okay, I can see if the monies were being used for that purpose, why, yeah, okay, maybe, yeah, but it's not. It's going into the pockets of managers and then sitting there, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's not used to hold down tuition increases. It is not used to expand faculty research. If a private foundation, name a foundation, the Heinz Foundation, they by law have to spend at least 5% of their assets each year. That's by law. You have to disperse. These university endowments, they don't have to do a thing. Just keep it coming. Let's see. One hedge fund manager gave Harvard $400 million in June. So what you see here is actually a circle, right? He gives Harvard $400 million, and then maybe his firm and others managing that money plus all the others get a kickback where it comes back to them in fees, right? I mean, how does that work? The hedge fund managers give these universities the money, and then they get it back. Here's another hedge fund manager gave Harvard $150 million last year. Another one gave him $400 million. And Stephen somebody or Schwarzman, the founder of private equity giant Blackstone, gave $150 million to Yale. So despite the success of its endowment, in 2014, Yale charged its students $291 million for tuition, room, board. They could pay that. They could have, there's no reason for any student who goes to Yale, given this, to have any student debt at all. Anyway, this guy has a thought about how this could get tweaked a little bit to make it more palatable. Apparently something called the Higher Education Act has to be reauthorized this year. And he says that the act should stipulate and require universities with endowments in excess of $100 million to spend at least 8% of that on their students every year. Universities could avoid this by shrinking their assets to $99 million, but only by spending their endowment on educational purposes, which is, either way, they'll have to start giving it to the students. Why would they not? Wouldn't you love to sit in on a board meeting of some of these universities and listen to these jerks? How happy they must be when they get another 400 mil, another 500 mil, rubbing their hands together in delight. Oh, sometimes they build buildings with it. And they keep raising the tuition. In 1990, Yale's endowment was $3 billion. It's $24 billion today. Harvard's is bigger. Unbelievable. Henry writes about baseball. I'm not a Pirate baseball fanatic, but I have attended 2 games this year. Last night, and oh, you were there last night. You mean this morning. Last night and once before the All-Star break. Both went into extra innings. Both exciting, but inconvenient for the fan. 80% of the fans were gone by the end of the game. Yeah, I mean, well, you can't expect people got to work tomorrow. I mean, even going to a night game that ends at 9 innings, by the time you get out of the park, get to your car, get home, it's a late night. But, hey, buckos! Geez, come on! 9 innings is more than enough. I'm willing to bet, and I haven't seen this stat, the Pirates have played more extra inning games than any other baseball team this year. I just can't imagine any other. It's like almost every game, it seems. Beth writes, Lynn, with the lack of privacy regarding the internet and our phone calls and emails, I really think the post office is missing their mark. An opportunity. Not advertising this. They could do it, Beth says, like this. We are the U.S. Post Office. A warrant is needed to look at our mail. Our mail cannot be hacked. There is no phishing when you send letters with us. And if someone steals your mail, there is a postal inspector who might look into it for you. Try finding a cop when your email is stolen. That's a good point, Beth. Don't you think that is a good point? Back to snail mail. Back to snail mail. I mean, if you want a measure of security. Unless they lose the letter. But yeah, absolutely. Melody writes about university endowments, and that isn't even addressing how many adjunct professors. Right. Oh, God. So these universities scarf up all this money, and then they raise tuition so that their students will, when they graduate, be in such debt that they really can't even begin to live the lives that us older folks did. And then they make sure that even though the tuition keeps going up, the students are taught by professors, adjuncts, who are making less than the minimum wage. If you worked out all the hours that it takes to be a professor, it's unbelievable, these universities. I'm almost willing to say that universities are more bankrupt in a moral sense than our healthcare institutions. And that's saying something. Both institutions are supposed to exist. Both institutions, tax exempt by virtue of the fact that they are to be virtuous in their missions. To give medical care, to offer education. And so they don't have to pay taxes. But oh my God, look at how they abuse it. Look how they abuse it. It's unconscionable. Okay. Did you know Donald Trump has a sister? Actually, he has siblings. Do you know that? He has 4 siblings, one can only imagine. He has an older sister. I'm actually looking at a picture of her. She is a definite family resemblance, and she's got a big hunk of yellow hair on top of her head, too, but it looks better on her, I must say. Her name is Maryanne. And I bring her up because she is as desirous of avoiding public scrutiny as he is of acquiring it. She is a senior judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. She ain't no slouch. She was appointed to the bench by Ronald Reagan, but she was promoted to a higher bench by Bill Clinton. And apparently is an exceedingly respected jurist. She is supportive of her kid brother. And she also is a straight talker, but she does not do interviews. She does not anything. People who are close to her say she's a chain smoker who drives a Jaguar. And everybody seems to like her. Whatever. Hey, she put away a guy who was convicted of attempting to assassinate his rival in crime, John Gotti. So, I don't know. She's the oldest. In 2000, she wrote a 40-page unanimous decision calling a New Jersey law banning late-term abortions as unconstitutionally and incurably vague. Also, it says here that the people who worked for her and even her lot of friends never knew she was Trump's sister. She's married. Her name is Barry, Maryanne Barry, but she never, ever, ever, ever said boo about being a Trump. Well, Judge Barry, out of the bag now. She just lives up the road from him, another fancy digs somewhere in Manhattan. But there you have it. And he's got, I guess, 3 brothers. Can't imagine. Margie's saying, well, with the pirates, you get your money's worth. Yeah, that's true. But, I mean, it's so exhausting. I am. I'm sleep deprived. There's a lot of Pittsburghers who are sleep deprived because of these guys. Of course, the pirates are sleep deprived, too. You would think they would want to just get home, call it a day. I don't know what. They just insist on making it more interesting than it has to be. Okay. Can we do something easy? Huh? Please? Well, I don't have anything easy. Here's what I have. Oh, the women's pill. The women's Viagra. The FDA, spineless fools that they are, have approved this pill. This pill. it's got the weirdest name, Allyi. Or Addyi? What's it called? Addyi. Addyi? And it turns out it's pronounced Addyi. Addyi. I need my Addyi. And this is to treat women's sexual dysfunction. Because women were up in arms saying, it's still a man's world. Guys get Cialis, guys get Viagra, and what the hell do we get? Nothing. So, I mean, obviously, you got to bet pharmaceutical companies are thinking, man, there's a gold mine here if we could come up with one for women. But women are more complicated humans than men. Men's sexual dysfunction usually had to do with one thing and one thing only. And we know what that was. Difficulty getting and keeping an erection. Women, on the other hand, their sexuality is much more complex. Much more complex. And a lot of it is not down there, it's up here. So the women's pill doesn't treat down there like it does for the men. All Viagra does is rush blood down there, right? The woman's pill treats a woman's entire psyche. It helps put her in the mood. Here's the problem. With Viagra, you take the pill when you want to do the deed. With Addyi, you take the pill every day because it has to work on your head. And it's not something you can pop the pill and then your head goes, man, I gotta. No, doesn't work that way at all. You got to take it every day. That's typical. And the amount of side effects, they're huge. They're huge. Which is why the FDA every other time around said, ain't no way we're approving this. Ain't no way we're approving this. But then what happened is a bunch of women's groups, fueled by the pharmaceutical company that created this drug, fueled in terms of money, started just a PR campaign. And that PR campaign broke down enough members of the Food and Drug Administration that they said, all right, shut the F up, okay. So it's available. And it will come with apparently the biggest warning that they can put on a thing. It's a warning in a big black box that says, watch out! If you look at I think we talked about this a few months ago. If you look at all the studies done on this thing, you know, it barely does anything for the women it even helps. Apparently, it helps women. All the testing has shown that at its best, it gives a woman one extra sexually satisfying event per month. That's it. That's for that's for the women it works for. It doesn't work for most. So a woman is supposed to take a mind-altering pill for the rest of her life to possibly score one more sexually satisfying event a month. Oh, ladies, I think this is not a good deal. I don't think this is a good deal. Opponents of the drug say it is not worth it. You can get nauseated. You can get so drowsy you don't know where you are. You can get dizzy. You can faint. And if you drink, you really could faint. It can lower your blood pressure if you're drinking. Now, a lot of women who have trouble getting in the mood drink. right? Because it lowers your, resistance and it just, whatever. So, you got to figure a lot of these women are used to sort of drinking if they want it. Now, if they do that, they're really putting themselves in some jeopardy. So, this lobbying group of women, funded in large part by the drug company, is called Even the Score. Please.
We'll wait for that.
And they say they're not going away because they need more and more pills. So I just have to say, this is so stupid. Women will try it, I guess. I mean, I was thinking if it acts on stuff that makes you, maybe it would have effects beyond the sexual where you would just feel better in general, like it's almost an antidepressant. But nowhere are they suggesting that. So this is not a drug you take an hour before you have sex. You have to take it for weeks and months in order to see any benefit at all. So you got to start taking it now in hopes that you'll have a satisfying sexual event in November. By the way, the drug company that is behind this has never had a pill on the market before. This is their one and only pill. They finally got it approved. Even the Score. Yeah, does not in any way even the score. And again, because women are sexually, and I would argue emotionally, more complicated than men. We just are built that way. By virtue of the fact that our bodies are more complicated. By virtue of the fact that we're women! And you wouldn't be here without us. Always freaks me out when I look at masses of humanity. I think, geez, for each one of these human beings, some poor woman. Really? Some poor woman. New pain you can't imagine. Pushed a 9-10 pound. I mean, it really is mind-boggling. And do women get credit? Huh? No, they get none. I know why women are put upon, because they're scary. We are magical. We are magic. Yes, we are. Speaking of women, scary women. Did you see these two women who finally got through the Army's Ranger School? Did you see that? No woman has ever done it. That means that they are eligible to be, on a special ops force, except they're not. Because this is the first year they even let women go to the school. And the fact of the matter is, the Army still doesn't allow women to belong for their elite Ranger Regiment, the Special Ops Force. Women are barred from it. These women, however, have done what all the men in that Special Ops Force have done as well. The only difference is they're women, so they're being told they can't be part of the force. I don't see how they say no to these two. I really don't. And in fact, Leon Panetta, when he was the Secretary of Defense, well, maybe he still is. Is he? No. He lifted the ban on women serving in ground combat roles. He did that in 2013. And the military, the Army, the Marines, the Navy, all of them are under the ticking clock. They must decide to either eliminate all these gender restrictions that have been in place forever, or they have to provide a justification for not doing so, and that justification would have to be signed off by the defense secretary, who is now, or just remembered, Ashton Carter, right? Carter. So Panetta put this thing in, and it's coming to its end point in January 1. So my guess is, while they might want, I don't see what they could possibly say. If a woman, most men who go into the Army Ranger School wash out. They can't do it. It is supposed to be the most grueling, I think it goes on for like 3 months. And it's hell. It's hell. Anyone who's been through it will tell you it's hell. So let's see. This time around, 19 women tried and 2 made it. What's that? Can you do percentages?
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at that. So it was 381 men.
Yeah, and 381 men started and 94 succeeded. Work out those percentages.
Okay.
I think the men's percentage is higher, but not by much. I mean, they have to do things that you can't even imagine. And the women are at a disadvantage in terms of just brute strength, because a lot of it has to do with brute strength. And a lot of it has to do, of course, with will, I think, and attitude.
I am totally blanking.
You don't know how to do a percentage?
You just,
Okay, here. So you
so
do
embarrassing.
94.
Let's just cut this. Give me a second.
What's a college education for?
I know.
Okay, wait. I'm going to remember how to do it. How do you do a percentage? You do, okay, 2 out of 19 made it. So you do 19 into 2. Right? It's about 10% for the women. Okay. The men were what? 381 and into 94.
Right.
All right. Yeah, that's bigger. They're more like 20. What'd you get?
24.
24%. 24% of the men made it. 10% of the women made it. But you see, the vast majority of either gender don't make it. Those who do are super people. They're ridiculously incredible. I would think that the Rangers would be well served by having women in their ranks. Women, while not as strong, are more nimble. Women bring a whole different bunch of qualities that can be used. What I don't understand is, why would the Army and the Marines and all these people get so hung up on the gender? It seems to me, if a person can complete the assigned rigor of whatever is thrown at them in this school, then they get in. Anyone who can do it should get in. Why should somebody's gender be the marker? Most men can't make it. Most women can't make it. But if most men can't make it, would you bar men from being able to be Rangers? Most women can't make it. Would you bar the women that can from being Rangers? And don't give me that, in a foxhole bullshit. How men will feel the need to protect the little lady. I mean, come on. Please. There is no justification whatsoever. These women are some tough human beings. Maybe even tougher than the men by virtue of the fact that, in fact, they don't have the physical stature and upper body strength and all that kind of crap. Okay, I'm just saying, yeehaw! Good for them. And we'll see.
We've got one woman who is still out on the course.
There's one woman still out, so there could be three?
Could be three.
I once saw what some of these guys have to do. It's just unbelievable. I mean, people die in this training.
There's like 40 pounds.
I heard a guy interviewed recently who went through it and succeeded. And he said, you get to a point where you are so exhausted, depleted in every way that you're hallucinating. He said he was in a jungle situation, and he remembers seeing an escalator that his buddies were going up, and he knew it couldn't be true, which saved him. But, I mean, that's where you get. We got a call. Hello.
Hello, Lynn.
Yeah.
The reason being that we don't want the women in there. It's machismo.
Yeah.
We don't want you women here. Come
Right.
on now.
Right. That is what it is.
Come on.
That's what it is, because it used to be, hey, this is the ultimate, male pinnacle.
Exactly.
And
now,
if
we
these
let women in, what the hell?
But they're not letting them in. The women have already proved they can hang.
I can't believe that they made it, because
It's unbelievable.
unbelievable. I know. So now they're stuck now. Well, they're going to win. Eventually, that Gloria Albright will probably take them to court. And
they'll let them in. I mean, Panetta wanted them in.
Well,
I mean,
how can you, on what basis can you deny them now?
Only that crap about, unit cohesion and, maybe a need the male instinct to protect the little lady could put the whole unit in danger.
I mean,
that kind of
stuff. You're not going to mess with these women, I tell you what.
Right.
Kick their ass faster than shit. I mean, this ain't going to happen. So, that's what all it boils down to, though. You know what I mean? It's just, come on now.
I'm with you. And I think they're in, too. I can't see.
They will. They'll get in. Because there's no, like I said, you can't, how can you can't just say, well, we don't want you in here. What basis now? We passed all the tests, now what? What are you going to tell us?
You know what I would love? I just had a fantasy. So that would mean that a woman could be part of the, get Bin Laden raid. And can you imagine if Bin Laden's final moments were looking at a woman and having her blow him away? I love that.
There's a show right now that I've been watching on DVD called Persons of Interest.
Uh-huh.
And it's my favorite part now is they have this new girl, and she is a badass. And I told my wife last night, I watched the show, I said, you got to watch this. It's in season 2, like episode, I don't know, number 20. And what's her name, guys? The girl's name? I can't think. My mind's blanking out.
Yeah.
But it's just so cool. Everybody thinks they have her trapped, and then she always has guns behind her back as she comes out and plays.
What is it called again?
Persons of Interest.
Okay, Persons of Interest. God, I can't get through a day without somebody telling me another great thing that they're watching, and they have to watch it. And I'll tell you, I'll do some of these shows after the baseball season's over, because right now all I watch is Pirates.
Well, I never watched it until my buddy at the gym told me. He bought the DVDs. So what I do is I watch them one after the other.
Yeah.
It's like a whole set, 24 episodes per year, and I'm on year 3 right now. So at nighttime, it's nice just to pop it in, no commercials.
Yeah.
You can kind of get a flavor for it. Maybe if you want to watch 2 or 3 in a row.
Do you know what network did it?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it's like I said, the women
I've heard
right
of it.
now, in season 3 that I just started, there's 2 women, and one's really crazy. She's supposed to be in the psych ward, and she knows she's really intelligent, super off the charts genius. And she's talking to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is trying to pull that psychobabble on her, and she's telling him all these things that nobody would know. And she's telling him, she says, you're the 43rd smartest guy in this whole institution. You cheated on your exams. you do all these different things, and the psychiatrist is like, he's thinking he's blown away. Like, how does she know all this? She's like, she's telling him all these things, these bad things that he's doing. You go to massage parlors, you pay with cash, and he doesn't know how. But how would somebody know this? Because she's right on track. She knows.
She knows everything.
Tells him at the end, just one thing. She says, the only decision I have right now is to determine if I'm going to kill you or not. And he just looks at her. What the hell, God?
Geez, she sounds daunting.
Yeah, but the other girl's name's, begins with an S. It's just a crazy.
No,
but the women, I like the women part because there's another guy. You know that the guy who played Jesus, Jim Caviezel? Or
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
He's like the military guy who's there's a one smart guy named Finch. I'm not sure what his name is off the thing, but there's Finch and then John. John Reese is, and these two guys are like they're like the
all right,
do-gooders.
stop already.
So I guess.
Yeah. You sold the show, but stop. You're going to tell me every episode before you.
I'm done. I'll keep talking bullshit, Lena.
You know what? Here's what's going to happen. You're going to hang up. I'm doing this for your benefit. You're going to hang up and immediately remember all those names that you couldn't remember while you were talking to me.
Sure.
That's how that works.
Sure. I just thought of it. My mind, my subconscious told me Shar. I think her name's Shar.
You're out of here.
I'm not
Bye. Ooh. Okay, Ray writes about the women's pill. It figures that Big Pharma comes up with a dangerous solution to a problem when there already was a harmless one. A gram of OG Kush? 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 What is that? Pot? That's pot? I know pot has names now. I know you talk to people and there's different... See, I don't know any of that. It's just pot to me. All right, Ray. A gram of pot and a bit of Molly.
MDMA. It's pure ecstasy.
Ecstasy?
Not cut with speed.
Oh, my God. Makes everyone more touchy-feely, or so I'm told. Ray!
Molly, huh?
Molly? Jeez. Ray. And then Ray adds, go Bucks. I love unintended double headers. I just wish they started at noon. Yeah. This is, really, people gotta sleep. And then you feel like a worm if you leave, you feel like, oh, I really am a good fan. I really am, but I just can't. I can't, guys. I gotta go. It's like every other game. All right. I'm also told by Chris that one of Trump's brothers has died. His name was Fred, and he was an alcoholic. One of the reasons that Donald, does not drink. I think he should. Just saying. Couldn't hurt. Calm him down a little bit. It just might have that effect. Okay. You know that Yeats poem, The Second Coming? That's a great poem. Here's the parts you know. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. And it's hard to write a political opinion piece, over years and not at some point want to use that. Okay, wait, got a caller. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Clarence.
Hey. Recognize the voice.
Yeah.
Real quick on the women's pill.
Yeah.
The only thing I think they really should do, and they really need to put this on paper or something, is keep it away from Bill Cosby.
Oh, man.
When I first read about it, first thing I said, please keep this out of Bill Cosby's hands.
It wouldn't work for him because it's a slow acting. It wouldn't help him at all.
Well, Bill was kind of cool with his, his dirty deeds. He got to know him, got to be a father figure.
Okay, so he could groom them
he
over
worked for us,
time,
yeah.
and right.
Yeah, don't worry,
right.
this will help your acting.
No, he likes something that works a lot more assuredly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jeez, God.
It's the first thing I saw.
Okay, of course, you and about a million other people. All right, you.
Okay, I have nothing else. I'm not a pirate fan. I'm so sorry.
That's quite all right.
Okay.
We don't need you. Bye.
That's true. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so E.J. Dionne is the latest to use it. I mean, because What do you mean? We have another call?
No, never mind.
No, thank you. And the other part of that poem, things fall apart. The center cannot hold. And he takes that and talks about the fact that what you see with a Donald Trump and what you see with even a Bernie Sanders is the center not holding. And then he makes it bigger. He says this is not a phenomenon that we're seeing only in the United States right now. And I hadn't thought of this, but this is true. And he credits somebody else writing in Slate for coming up with this. But this is true. The center, in terms of political stability, is not holding very well in all kinds of countries. And then he just goes out and names them. I mean, it is true all over Europe. Caller, hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, what do you think about this thing with Hillary Clinton?
I don't know about the
email
emails.
thing.
I don't know. I keep waiting.
And I hope to hell the Democrats aren't stupid enough. I hear some of them even talking bad about her, thinking they're going to ruin about the best candidate we have.
Well, I don't know.
To win the election.
Right. I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, the Justice Department's looking into. Let's see what happens. I'm not going to sit and wonder.
No, I just was wondering because I hear them on the morning show.
It makes me nervous. It makes me nervous.
And they're bad mouthing her.
Yeah, they're worried.
And I'm thinking to myself, keep your damn mouth shut. Just let it blow over, even if it is something.
Well, if it's something, it won't blow over.
No, that's true. But the thing that really makes me mad, the something that really meant something, was George W. Bush and his gang. All them bastards got out of. They're criminals, as far as I'm concerned. All of them, murderers too.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it.
I hear you. I agree.
Okay. Then.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you.
All right. Bye. I don't know with the email thing. And I'm not interested enough at this point to trouble my pretty little head with trying to make sense of it. I'm going to wait till maybe a Justice Department report comes out, and we'll see if there is anything. I mean, I've sort of been reading around the periphery. It could well be not much of anything, and maybe it could be something. I don't know. And since the election isn't for another, almost year and a half, I don't have to. So, but back to what I was talking about. The center cannot hold. It's not holding, if you pay any attention to international news, it's not holding in Great Britain very well right now. It's not holding in France. It's not holding in Greece, in Spain, in Sweden, in Denmark. And what you have in all those countries, and looking like we might start having here, are these more populist movements that are not center. They're over here and over there. And Trump and Sanders in this country. And according to Dionne, he says, whether you're looking at Europe or looking here, these are movements that blend populism and nationalism into a potent anti-establishment brew. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. And he goes on to say that especially when this kind of discontent sort of congeals around issues of culture and nationalism rather than issues about, material need, basic stuff. This is not basic stuff. This is about, culture. The promises that are made by the sort of incrementalists in the middle fall on deaf ears. People, when they're fired up, are not likely to listen to the sort of moderate, well, if we take this slowly over time, we're in no mood. So he points out that, obviously you'd have to be living in a cave not to notice that voters are, there's a lot of impatience, there's a lot of resentment, a lot of outrage, and that's what you hear from Bernie Sanders. That's what you hear from Donald Trump. They are voicing that, coming from two different perspectives, but voicing that. And both saying, those guys, the grown-ups in the room, the establishment, they ain't doing shit. And this is resonating. Italy, Great Britain, Denmark, Sweden, France, Spain, Greece, all have seen the rise of new parties that blend nationalism and anti-establishment, really. So, I don't know. I think this is maybe a transitional time, and those are scary times. He says this, when capitalists behave negligently, which we have going, and when inequalities get too severe, as is happening, the more moderates find themselves simultaneously outflanked on their left and also on their right by people who are offering solutions and a kind of salvation that is rooted in a more of an identity. And that identity has a lot to do with I'm not them. He also points out, and this is interesting, that globalization, which is what we got, globalization weakens the ability of moderate governments to deliver on their promises. I've been saying this for years, guys. Governments are not what they were. Governments are do the bidding of multinational corporations now. And capitalists can destroy a country like that. Capital can flee to more congenial places. They can undercut a nation's tax base and its regulatory efforts. So you got governments with their hands tied and beholden in large part to capitalists and global corporatism. And the people are getting screwed. And the people know it. And the people are angry. But this is a moment for potential demagogues. It's always scary when the center does not hold. Dion ends with this. The dangers of a Yates moment to social harmony, to tolerance, even to democracy and freedom, should be noted. The center cannot hold. The best lack all conviction. They're cynics. While the worst are full of passionate intensity. E.B. Yates nailing it in 1919. Check it out, the whole thing. It is an extraordinary. The Second Coming. Is that where somebody slouches to Bethlehem to be born? Is that line in there too? God, I got to look that poem up. I think that is truly a great poem. All right, I left you with poetry today. Maybe depressing poetry, but I left you with poetry. And I just want to say, go Bucks, but do it in 9 innings for a change. Thank you.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.